Yeah, I don't want, and they don't need to look at me, my bottom. Okay, all right. This meeting of the Bellevue School District Board of Directors is now called to order for Thursday, September 18th, 2025. And we will start with roll call.
Bill Block.
Carolyn Watson.
Martha Trilles.
Monica Webster.
Jay Norris.
Kelly Aramaki.
Okay, next we have the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we are in the indigenous lands of the Coast Salish, including the Duwamish, Muckleshoot, and Snoqualmie peoples. We thank these caretakers of this land who have lived and continue to live here since time immemorial. We reflect on the historic context that brings us to reside on this land and accept responsibility to interrupt erasure. We are committed to our ongoing partnership with the Snoqualmie tribe as we listen to, learn from, and lead with their guidance. Next, we have introduction of the students.
Thank you, President Watson. We have two wonderful students from Interlake High School, and I'm going to turn the honors over to Principal Brett Cochran to introduce his wonderful students.
Yeah, Macy Didrikson and Carolyn Fuentes, 12th graders. I think I got to know them actually through some of their other friend groups that had recently graduated. There was 5 students. You met 3 of them actually a year ago, 3 gentlemen that I brought in that I was kind of mentoring. And so that all came about through the AVID program. Interlake is, still running heavy and strong with AVID. And that's how I got to know this particular friend group right here. And these are just 2 more of my awesome Interlake students.
We'll start by having you lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so now we like to hear whatever you'd like to tell us.
I can start. I'm Carolyn, and we wanted to bring up the split we have at school with like AL and general ed students, and we just wanted to say even though the 2 worlds aren't connected as much as a community, we think our school makes sure that in some ways there's connection between us. For example, for me, I think sports is definitely a big one. We both play 3 different sports every season. So I think meeting new people that we usually wouldn't talk to at school or or don't have any classes with them since we don't engage with them, I guess. Meeting them with sports, I think is really nice. So it brings us together as a community. But it also our school, because of this, our school is not very spirited. And I think having stuff in common makes us again, become as one, since we can't really have a lot of things in common.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I think Interlake is really a community that strives to be the best it possibly can. A cool story about this is my soccer coach, who's also an Interlake faculty member. He's a math teacher. He was just recently diagnosed with stage 4 liver cancer. And as he's been getting his chemo, it's been really hard, but his doctors have said that he's kind of an outlier, quote unquote, which basically means that his body is reacting to the chemo a lot better than most people do. And I think what's cool about Interlake is that it really reaches to create a community of outliers amongst us. And I know that Mr. Cochran and all our faculty really strive to make us the best students possible. I've heard Mr. Cochran talk a lot in our assemblies and stuff. And I just keep hearing him say that college may be the easiest path to get a job, but it's not the only path. And I really feel like as an Interlake community and staff, they set us up that even if we don't go to college, we still have the ability to be like the best we can in our jobs, in our future. And honestly, I think that's really cool because as like Interlake students, I'm like reassured that when I go off into the world, that I'll be able to like do what I do and do it with excellence, which is kind of our year goal, I guess. I've heard Mr. Cochran say excellence a lot, and I think excellence is like really important to us because it's not like just being the best, but it's also trying your hardest to like in everything you do and making sure you can be the best you can possibly do, which is what Interlake culture is all about. And so, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry to hear about your math teacher, and I can't help commenting that I never meet a Carolyn in your age group, and even though it's spelled differently, it sounds the same as my name.
Really?
Carolyn. So, all right. So now, if we don't have more there, we will go on to acknowledgements.
Thank you.
Okay. This month is National Suicide Prevention Month, National Hispanic Heritage Month, which goes from 15th September to 15th October. We have on the 21st, the International Day of Peace. On the 22nd, we have Navaratri. On the 23rd, we have Rosh Hashanah. On the 30th, we have the National Day of Remembrance for Indian Boarding Schools. Now, we're going on to the approval of the agenda. And I haven't prearranged any motions, but would somebody like to move to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Would somebody like to second that?
Second.
All right, does anybody have any discussion items for the agenda? No? Okay, so all those in favor of approving the agenda as written, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? I don't hear any. The agenda is approved as written. Okay, now we're going to go through the same process for the consent agenda. Would somebody make a motion to approve the consent agenda from?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, so that is accomplished. So does anybody need to discuss the consent agenda? And for the people listening, we've had a chance to go over some of these topics on Monday in our Monday discussion, which was streamed. All right, no discussion there. So all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
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 Aye. And anybody opposed? I don't think so. So that is approved as written. All right, now we're moving on, wow, right away to superintendent updates.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm gonna start with a story. So the day before school started, getting ready for school, ironing my clothes, and then we realized that there's a leak underneath our kitchen sink. And so we open up the kitchen sink and there's water everywhere, mold everywhere. And so it's been leaking for quite some time. And you can see that the water is coming out of the, whatever it's called, that goes to the faucet thingy. And so, thank you. Or yeah. Anyways, so I'm like, the day before school, that's really the last thing you want to have to deal with. But in my attempt to try to fix it, turns out I have to buy a new faucet. And I'm underneath the sink trying to remove the faucet, and I can't get the nut thingy off. And so I'm getting more and more frustrated. And then I end up going back to Home Depot, and I buy this tool here, which costs about $25. And the only thing you can really do with it is use it to undo the thing under your sink. So I go to Home Depot, buy this thing, and then I come back home. I open up the package, which of course is a one-time thing because you have to cut the thing open. I get back under the sink, and it's too big. It doesn't fit because it's so tight under the sink. So I'm sitting here with this piece of plastic and metal that is pretty much useless. So I'm so frustrated, and my wife is like, just call the plumber. But I end up out of frustration, just kind of shaking the faucet, which, as you can imagine, like kind of loosened it up a little bit. So then I was able to unscrew the thing after that. So anyways, that's a good hack. So finally, after hours, and it's like 10 o'clock at night, I'm ready to put on the new faucet. I then say to my kid, who's a senior at Interlake High School, okay, what is this part for? So can you can you look at the instructions and tell me what this thing is for? Because now I'm going to try to put on this thing. So she starts reading the instructions. She says, it says you're supposed to use this to unscrew the nut because you can't reach up there. So it comes with the sink. So then I'm like, oh my gosh, because I mean, basically I had the thing that I needed there's a whole side story about not reading directions, blah, 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 all of that stuff. That's not the main point. The main point is this. Like sometimes, like I don't want to like take this whole analogy of Apollo 13 like that far, but like there are some truths. Like sometimes you can figure out stuff with the stuff that you have. You don't have to go and buy the one tool that really has only one purpose and doesn't even necessarily work. And so on the screen here, this is kind of the scene from Apollo 13 where they basically are like, they're in a shuttle in the middle of space. They don't have the ability to get anything other than what they have in their space shuttle. And so they've got to turn that little filter into a round filter using only what's on the table. And I'll just say that it's been remarkable to see people doing that since the start of school. I'm kind of joking about the whole sink thing. I mean, I make light about that, but the truth is that our team is doing it. The school teams, our departments that you're going to hear from later today, people have been making do with the resources that we have. And even though there are so many things that we wish we had also, or wish we could buy, or wish we could increase, everybody is holding tight. Everybody is doing their part in order to manage our resources well. And I'm so thankful. So if there are staff that are listening, I just want to say thank you. I know it's hard to do that. And sometimes we just want to go to Home Depot and buy the $25 part, but like people are making do. And I want to say thank you to the system because we're able to manage our budget well because people are all doing their part. So thank you so much for that to the staff. A couple of just updates on enrollment. This is the chart that we've been showing kind of week after week, but there's a couple of good news stories here. Our enrollment is higher than it was last year. That is really great because in districts around us, that's not the story. There's a lot of districts that are our neighbors who are declining in enrollment still. And so you can see there, we just inputted the enrollment for today, day 13. Last year we had 19,272 students. This year we have 19,490 students. So we're about 218 over last year, and we budgeted this year to have 200 students more. So we are right on target. Our goal is that line right there, which is 19,600 kids. And by October the 1st, we are pretty confident that we're going to get there. So this is a very encouraging thing for our district. We are going to hit the target that we set in our budget. So Dr. Sanchez, our Chief Operating Officer, and Lauren Tillman, our Chief Financial Officer, in the study session in October, they're going to go through all of the actual October headcount, enrollment data, and things like that. So I'm going to give you just a preview of one thing that I just want people to see. There's something very encouraging happening in Bellevue, and this is, it's on this slide. This is our kindergarten enrollment. And so you can see the dark blue line on the very left is 2020-21. So that's the year before COVID, before the pandemic. This was kind of the height. We had 1,218 kindergartners on October the 1st, right before the pandemic. And then during the pandemic and then coming out of it, you can see we really took a dip. And so we were thinking that maybe our new reality was going to be about 1,000 to 1,100 kindergartners. But if you look here, you can see that every single year we have increased our number of kindergartners. This matters because the stronger the kindergarten cohort, the stronger our district is, because our enrollment grows every single year. Kindergarten is always the lowest, and then we add kids every year. And so this year, by September 18th today, we are at 1,214 kindergartners. That's only 4 off of what we were pre-pandemic. So that is a success. That's not something that people are seeing in districts around us. A lot of this has to do with the programs that we're creating at the elementary school to bring families in. But tonight you're also going to hear from Dr. Macias, who's going to talk about our Welcome Center, because we've been doing a lot of work to recruit and to improve our enrollment processes. So this is a good sign. We're going to have a lot more data to show once we get our actual October count in. But our community should be encouraged. I also want to just talk a little bit about to give people hope, because as our teachers and our principals are trying to hold tight to their budgets, as our departments are dealing with fewer resources than normal, I think people can do that as long as they know that there is some hope coming down the pike. And what I'll say is I'm on this OSPI K-12 funding equity work group with a number of other superintendents and state leaders, and we are working hard to improve the funding formula for Washington State. So this year, we're working on looking at revenue and the formulas for how they drive money to school districts. And then in 27 and 28, we're going to be working with the legislature to prioritize changes and then to see if we can get changes implemented. So the solutions to our budget issues are, we have some good news coming down with our increased levy capacity and things like that. But what we really need to do is work with our labor partners, with the PTSA and others, and our legislators in order to improve state funding formulas for our state. So we are working on that as we speak. This is a preview. So the school board and I, we've been talking for a number of years about recognizing the incredible staff that we have in the school district. And so I've kind of previewed this with the staff at a staff huddle a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was just last week, but we want to honor staff who demonstrate the values of the Bellevue School District. And so kind of building off of some of the things that we've been talking about all summer with Apollo 13, there are some things that we want to recognize, and these are them. The first one is teamwork. We have people who come together to accomplish things that you could never accomplish by yourself. We want to recognize that because we do believe that teamwork is critical in the school district. Each and every student, I talked about this in my most recent blog post, but Katherine Johnson was the African-American, the Black NASA engineer, mathematician who created that trajectory around the moon that got Apollo 13 back home. And so we want to create Katherine Johnson conditions in the Bellevue School District. So that idea of each and every student is people who demonstrate that commitment to the thriving and the of every single child. Number 3, an accelerating force, people who can leverage innovative strategies and human ingenuity that propel us toward our mission. We want to recognize people who show commitment to the BSD mission, and that is affirming and inspiring our students to learn and thrive as creators of their future world. And then the last one, I kind of tweaked this one around, but something that we've really been talking about in our strategic plan is about improving how we treat one another, how we serve people, how we run our IEP meetings, all of that stuff. We want to be a more human-centered system. And so this last one is about human-centered service to others, demonstrating kindness, care, and outstanding service to others. Together, those 5 spell out teach. And so the board, we're going to test it out. The board has kind of a slate of people that I think that we should be recognizing first, but then we're going to come up with a nomination process so that community, students, staff can nominate. to recognize the amazing things that people are doing in our system. And then lastly, I've talked about Bellevue LifeSpring before. I've talked about Bellevue Schools Foundation before. I've talked about partners that are coming in to support us in our mission with kids. And I just want to call out one more as kind of my closing comment. Today, Comcast Xfinity, they're donating 100 brand new computers to give to students who are experiencing homelessness in Bellevue. And so it is that this is a picture of their truck. They have a truck and a van full of laptops, brand new laptops to give to kids. And it was amazing because they want to respect the dignity of kids. So they didn't want to do a whole big thing, with students necessarily, because they know that we want to respect the dignity of our kids. But they basically showed up with these truckfuls of laptops, delivered it to Dr. Macias at the Welcome Center. And we're just excited to give these laptops away to kids who are going to be super thrilled to have them. And so I think our effort to create a beloved community in Bellevue it's something that we're committed to here in the district, but it is something that we need our partners to help us with. And I just want to say thank you to Comcast for their generosity. And with that, those are the end of my comments.
Okay, great. So now we're on to public comment. So give me a second here. All right. The board values public input and allocates 20 minutes per meeting for public comments, with each speaker limited to 2 minutes. Comments must be civil and within legal and district policy boundaries. The meeting chair, that's me, may end comments that exceed time limits or violate standards of civility. The board expects the same level of civility that the board imposes on itself. Uncivil comments include those that are libelous, obscene, violate privacy, incite unlawful acts, or disrupt the meeting. The board reserves the right to maintain order, but differentiates between uncivil remarks and critical yet respectful commentary. So, Mr. Harrison, would you please introduce the public commenters?
I would be happy to. I believe that we have 3 public commenters tonight. They're all in person. I would just ask that each speaker speak in the order that you see in the screen in front of you. Be mindful of the clock in the top left-hand corner. It counts down from 2 minutes. And please make sure that you state your name for the record at the beginning of your comment. So we'll start with Mr. Zimmerman.
Are you sure I will be in TV? I'm not too much sure about this, but it's okay. No problem. Yeah. Yeah, my name Alex Zimmerman. Yeah, my name Alex Zimmerman. And I want to speak about something what is I thinking absolutely critical in Bellevue. Yes, situation in Bellevue very unique. And you guys, #1 fascist school in America. Why? Because Bellevue #1 fascist city in America. They have absolutely identical principle, what is have national socialist, fascism, you know what it means, plus mafia. I explain to you various point. Bellevue make from Bellevue, consul, you know what it means, Mayor Robinson, exactly for last 6 years, make from Bellevue a plantation. Right now, Bellevue have 120,000 people. I call them a jungle slave. The situation very unique because they don't have a knowledge in American history. 30,000 is white people. Yeah, but it's not about this. It's about fascism. So this 120,000 jungle slave is pure in this plantation like exploitator. You know what it means? Like a black before. They use this only for one particular reason. So group of people, you know what it means, like Amazon, another big corporation, Google or something, you know what it means, in city make money. So situation so unique, so nobody recognize. So Bellevue is #1 fascist city in America. By definition, it's a crime. Only organized criminal can doing this with 120,000 jungle slave, use them for same motivation what has happened with black couple 100 years ago. So you need something doing about this, but you don't doing nothing. Viva Trump, viva New American Revolution. Stand up, slave and happy cow. You need doing 3 minutes. 2 minutes is for idiot. This is exactly what is you play. Stupid. Sorry.
Push that button there.
Button pushed. All right. Good afternoon. I'm Christopher Glover. I have a son in your district. He is one of your deaf students, one of hundreds of your BSD students with hearing differences. Already this school year, he has had a group of students throw rocks and sticks at him. He's had another incident getting shoved around. And those are very troubling things in and of themselves, but I'm really not here to talk directly about harassment or bullying. I really want to call attention to how lack of access to information and how lack of access to understanding sometimes sits behind some of these things that are happening. On the playground, as an example, my son is often missing verbal cues from his classmates, things that he can't pick up. And even though it should not happen, the frustration of those other students sometimes escalates into physical actions like what I was talking about. For my child, he's left confused because he doesn't know why things escalated and struggles to feel like he actually belongs because of the things the kids are doing toward him. So for 4 years now, he is in the minority that he consistently says recess is his least favorite part of the day. But this isn't unique to him. Lack of access to information is a classroom challenge as much as it is a playground challenge, especially for deaf and hard of hearing students who miss up to 80% of incidental learning opportunities. Those are the overheard conversations and sound cues that are critical for academics, they're critical for friendships, and also building community. That's why I want to follow up and use the time today on an email that my wife and I sent last week to the board regarding progress for the 24-25 annual plans commitment under We Belong to add American Sign Language as a language offering in the district. The availability of ASL, as well as just the presence of ASL, it creates meaningful change, not just for the hundreds of students with hearing differences, but really all of the students in the district. It promotes belonging and empathy. It supports diverse learners through universal design for learning, strengthens literacy, and also opens up a lot of job opportunities where ASL is increasingly important. I really just want my child and all the children to feel like they can come to school confident every day that they belong in the
Thank you.
class, and look forward to response.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Reagan Lorden. I'm the Vice President of BEA. I came here to speak tonight about the impact of having less staff and the increased workload on educators. Right now, we are being asked to do more with less. Fewer colleagues in our buildings, larger class sizes, and fewer supports for our students. Educators are stepping up like they always do, but there are limits to what they can do in these times. Educators are feeling this strain already. Since the start of the school year, Jill and I have already been asked by 2 educators on how to get out of their contracts because of the support and resources and are not there, and that they are being pushed to the breaking point. Our administrators have done excellent work and have been there for educators, helping them adjust expectations and working together to address the new realities and limits our learning communities are facing. Thank you, admin. However, these adjustments and the impacts they are having on educators' ability to provide students with all the extra supports they need has not been well communicated to families and the community from our district. Our parents are still expecting there to be a full menu of supports, communication, and individualized attention as we have done in years past. This mismatch creates tension and disappointment when in reality, it's simply not possible to meet the same expectations with fewer staff to deliver them. We want families to understand the reality we are living in. We will continue to show up, to teach, to care, but we cannot provide the same level of extras under current conditions, not because we want to give less, but because there is simply less capacity to give. This is not about lowering our standards. It's about being honest and being in this together. Until funding levels improve, we ask families to give grace to our educators and admin. Clear communication with families in the same way administrators have communicated these adjustments with staff will go a long way in helping them partner with us, rather than unknowingly adding to the already high levels of strain on our educators and learning communities. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so I believe that is the end of public comment. And now we're going on to our report section of our agenda, which is an operational excellence presentation.
Sorry, Angela.
We're getting our seating chart ordered out here. Are we good? Okay. All right. Good evening, Board of Directors and community. Dr. Heather Sanchez, proud Chief Operating Officer here this evening with this amazing team of individuals to provide you some updates about the goings-on over this summer and the launch of the school year from the operational perspective. There we go. Before we go on, I do want to just make a couple of opening remarks. First of all, I want to acknowledge that we are missing one of our team members, and that's Mr. Lauren Tillman, our interim Chief Financial Officer. We figured you've heard quite a lot from Mr. Tillman lately, and so we gave him the night off for this presentation. But I do want to shout out the incredible work that he does in every aspect of finance and operations, but he's not here with us this evening. Before I turn it over to the team, I just wanted to talk about the importance of effective operations and supporting the learning of our students every day. If you look at the people sitting at this table and the hundreds of other individuals that they support every day, if you think about it from a student's perspective, from the time a family walks in the door to the Welcome Center and enrolls in our schools, to the time they get on the bus in the morning and the first face they see is their bus driver, to the temperature and the cleanliness of their building when they walk into the building, to their experience that they have when they go through the lunchroom line and they get the food that nourishes them, to the after-school activities that they may enjoy. Every aspect of the child's day outside of that direct instruction with their teachers is touched by the leaders sitting at this table. And I just want to shout out the many, many people that they work with that support that well-rounded learning experience, from our bus drivers to our nutrition services members to our family engagement coordinators, our coaches, all of the people that touch this aspect of what makes a student's experience in Bellevue so rich and high quality. So I just want to elevate the work of everybody in our system, and for the next 30 minutes, the work of all of the people that are involved with the departments you're going to hear from this evening. So on that note, I will turn it over.
Good evening. It's good to see you all. It's been about a year. I'm going to give you a kind of high-level overview of what is going on in athletics and activities, and then I will see you again in a couple months, and we'll give you a much deeper dive into the department. Next slide, I'll show you 3 different points. The first, fall sports have started. One of the heaviest lifts of the department is to really get the new school year off, because we have 11 sports at each one of the comprehensive high schools that actually begin before the school year starts. And so kids in those 11 sports across marching bands and other music programs were all on the fields, in the schools about a week and a half before school began. Currently, I looked at the numbers again last night. Currently, across those 11 programs in each of those 4 schools, we have 1,572 kids out for those fall sports. And I wanted to break it down because I wanted to see by gender what that looked like. And right now we have 788 girls out for sports and 784 boys out for sports, which is kind of cool to see. And then one other thing I'll end up highlighting, the largest group we have by grade is our freshmen. We have more freshmen out for sports right now across all 4 of the high schools than any other one, which I thought was kind of a neat thing to see. The other big lift, Monday starts the 4 sports programs at each of the middle schools that they got registered over the last couple weeks. And Jubilee Reach will be running boys soccer cross country, girls basketball, and girls golf at each one of the schools. So 761 kids signed up and will be participating starting on Monday. We spent a lot of time over the summertime really aligning our coaches' trainings and making sure that our coaches are getting the same level of training that all the rest of our educators do. And that conversation has now bled over into another part of the work that my department does in talking to Dr. Macias and trying to align what we're doing for our volunteers also to make sure our volunteers are getting a higher level of training than they would have in the past. So that's another piece of the work that we've been doing right now too. I'm really encouraged by the tools that we have in place and some of the things that we're able to give access to, not only for our coaches, but for our volunteers. And the third thing that I really spent the summertime doing is, and I'll tell you more about this later on. There's a lot of work done with our vendor final forms to make sure that we can end up running field trips through their program the way we want to. You all are seeing that for the first time today in the consent agenda. And we've updated those field trip processes and gotten them to every CERT person in the district and along with all the office managers and everything else. And so myself and my support coordinator are actually meeting with school teams and continue to meet with school teams to make sure that we can support that update. It's a little bit of a steep learning curve right now, but ultimately it's going to end up lessening the work on the people that are running those trips. So those are the real heavy lifts that we've got going on so far this year. I'm very encouraged by where we are and looking forward to a couple more really good sports seasons.
Good afternoon. I'm Jack McLeod, Executive Director of Facilities Operations, and just highlight a few things in capital projects. Newport High School, we finished up and opened up phase 3 of the project. We were working on the final phase right now. And the phase 3 includes a new commons, administrative suite, theater support, robotics, concession stand, multi-purpose field. We have construction underway at Big Picture School, which is former Eastgate. And so we've done quite a bit of selective demo over there and then adding an additional 40,000 square feet for the students over there. We have design in progress right now at the International School replacement, as well as a master plan for an Interlake addition that'll be forthcoming here over the next few years, funded by the 2020 bond. At the transition building that opened a year ago, we bought the 2 pieces of property immediately south of the building, and so we're developing a transition sensory garden, and it's in for city permitting right now, and a rendering of that is in the lower right-hand corner. At Interlake, we also have added 300,000 kilowatt solar array on the roofs up there, so you can see that in the upper right-hand corner with a pretty significant display of the solar panels up there. And then we are now in the process, we open bids and have a contract in place for installing EV charging stations at ESC and WESC. And then a few of the other little things that have gone on have been working on the Welcome Center, and most of our staff, maintenance and the rest of it have been involved in that. Custodial and warehouse. Again, this is another one of the real support programs that goes on with furniture deliveries. Get our school, the kids start coming back and we start finding out we need more furniture in one place, take it away from another, move it around. So the warehouse does a lot of that, as well as moving a lot of the, getting the freezers and the walk-in coolers stocked with food for the start of the school year. Do a lot of staff moves, again, because of enrollment shifts, things like that. And then they also are involved in the Newport High School capital projects, moving staff from one area of the building to another and moving back into their new classrooms if that's the case. Science and PE kits that are assembled. That bottom lower left photo there is the science kids over at the bread plant warehouse that have been refurbished and ready to go out for the fall period of time. And so the warehouse is busy getting those delivered. And then custodial staff has done deep cleaning at all the schools and buildings and getting them ready to go. And gym floors, all the hardwood floors in the middle and high school gyms have been refinished like we do every year. This is a deep subject here on the right. That's a manhole, one of the many that we have around that support the sanitary and the storm sewer systems around all of our buildings. And these are required to have inspections by staff and also required by the city of Bellevue every year. So we have our folks that go out and have to go through all of the systems there and make sure that everything's working properly. In the upper left-hand corner there, the guys got to go out and do some fun work using all the good equipment, things like that, to go ahead and demolish an old wooden toy play structure over at the former Puesta del Sol, or the old Sunset site, that was becoming kind of a liability as far as the material disintegrating. A lot of the things they have to do during the course of the summer is maintain the buildings, take care of things. Batteries need to be replaced in so many of the systems for exit lights, emergency lighting. All the controllers for the card reader entries into the building have to have the backup batteries replaced. And fire equipment, radio antennas. A lot of these things are mandates that come from the city, Department of Labor and Industries, and the rest of it. And these are, as they come on board, these are unfunded mandates. We have to do it, so we have to have our staff go out and address that. So all of our fire alarm systems have to be confidence tested and signed off, and then all of the other fire extinguisher systems and any of the hoods and things like that at the schools and the kitchens have to be taken care of. Also handle a lot of the turf repairs. We have a lot of synthetic fields in the district and they all need to have repairs as well as maintenance just to keep them in the best playing condition, make sure all the infill is all distributed. Storm cleanup after that bomb cyclone, that was a work in and of itself, and some of that is still ongoing. And seeing that all over the city. Fire safety, annual testing alarms I talked about, and then elevators. Again, L&I requirement, and we have our beautiful 2-story buildings, but they all need elevators to get people up and down. So that's a challenge, keeping those tested and certified. So little smattering of the things that we do during the summer.
Wendy Wire, Director of Nutrition Services. So as the school year ends, we quickly transition into operating the summer food service program. So in coordination with the district summer school program, we offer an opportunity for not only students attending summer school, but also any child in the community 18 and younger to come into those schools to receive a complimentary breakfast or lunch. We received approval over the summer from OSPI to continue to operate a no-cost breakfast and lunch program in 6 of our schools. This offering has really helped us increase participation in not only the breakfast but lunch program in each one of those schools. I know in talking with families, it really has been a tremendous help to them and really has created a situation where when all students are eating complimentary, there's no question of who actually is low income in those schools. Everyone is being treated the same. We have a little fun during the summer, getting in the kitchen and doing some recipe development and planning out our fall menus. Just to mention a couple of items, we have a ramen that we'll be offering in our middle schools and high schools actually just at the end of October. We have a pozole recipe that we will be offering later this late fall, winter that is made with a locally sourced pork. That pork is being roasted in our central kitchen and prepared for each one of the schools to then make the pozole on site. We're also dabbling in some new recipes utilizing our local salmon and also beef. We have a tofu and vegetable dumpling that we'll be introducing to students as part of our Lean and Green initiative, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. And then one of my favorites is introducing a scratch-made scone that we offer at breakfast in our elementary schools. The scone is made in our central kitchen, sent to the schools so they can fresh bake it in the morning. So as kids are coming in, either from home or off the bus, they're smelling fresh baked scones in the morning. We will continue our sustainability initiatives, nutrition services for more than 20 years. I will say it's been a leader in making efforts in being more responsive to our environment. Last year, we introduced a program called Lean and Green, which was our effort to introduce more non-meat and plant-forward entrees for our students. So we will be continuing at that this next school year. In July, I was here and introduced or accepted a check from Bellevue LifeSpring to help us in clearing unpaid meal debts for just about 1,000 of our students. So that is a manual process for us to individually credit each one of those accounts. So we completed that over the summer, utilizing that donation, but also many donations that we received from parents. Many of our graduating senior parents will make donations of any unused school meal balances that they have that also help us in paying those debts. Probably our biggest effort before school starts is to launch the school meal benefit application. Families need to reapply for school meal benefits each year. So in the last month, we have qualified over 3,800 students for free or reduced price meals for this school year. We will keep that application open all year, but we're about 1,000 less than where we were last year in students that had qualified. And the last thing that I'll mention is a joint effort with the communications department and also some feedback from some of our high school accountants was trying to help families connect the meal application to other benefits, not only their student, but their families can receive. And so we developed I'll call it a marketing flyer, communicating to families that it's not just a meal application, that by qualifying, you can open up things like the fee waiver program. You can connect with getting discounted internet for your family. We have this available in English, Spanish, and Chinese and have been distributing it through a variety of different sources to help families build that connection.
Hey, good evening, directors. For the record, my name is Douglas James, your Director of Safety and Security. The summer months, like with all departments, are particularly busy. That's a time for department members to pursue their own professional development and for us to get an opportunity to finish up projects that we simply couldn't get to during the busy school year. So this past summer, the Safety and Security Department focused on people, processes, and physical security enhancements. In particular, we deployed a new electronic visitor management system district-wide. You may have seen that at our schools as you visited school sites or our support buildings. It's iLobby. It's called iLobby. It's an Apple pad-based electronic visitor management system. It gives us increased security with visitor information. It also increased functionality. It supports 46 foreign languages, and then also gives us the ability to customize each site with particular questions. So for instance, at the high school level, we had the request to track vehicle information for parking enforcement in our high school parking lots. So as visitors visit the high schools, they're asked their vehicle information. At the elementary school level, we had a specific request to track what classrooms visitors are volunteering in so they can enter that information for accountability purposes. So that was a big lift for the department, mobilizing and implementing that management system district-wide. Also, we put up signage at our schools for access control, delineating that office space from public space in our front offices, and also to set expectations with visitors to our buildings. So you'll see new signage at the entry doors to our buildings, mandating that all visitors check in at the front office. We installed new life safety equipment to include bleeding control kits in all of our middle school CTE shop classrooms. So they have quick access to that essential life safety equipment. We refreshed the Narcan, that is the opioid reversal medication, at all of our sites. Yes, Narcan does expire, and we are coming up on expiration dates for the current stock. So replaced all that district-wide, and we inspected our AEDs, took inventory of all the automated external defibrillators, and replaced the pads as per our maintenance schedule. In addition to that, we provided life safety training for multiple schools as they readied their staff for the new school year. We provided training for community partners and PTSA council members, and that included active threat response training, suspicious activity reporting training, and reunification best practices. And then lastly, we focused on some physical security enhancements to include surveillance camera repairs at the middle school level. We had several sites where the exterior cameras were causing difficulties. We couldn't quite see due to UV damage to the lenses, et cetera. So made some repairs there, and then we entered into a contract to switch out the cameras at Interlake High School. Huge undertaking there, but we're going with the new camera system. We had some problems after the last bomb cyclone where multiple cameras were fried due to electrical shortages, et cetera. And finally, I'll end on this. We've had recent events here in this country have been highlighted, certainly with violent attacks and murder of individuals from Charlie Kirk to politicians like Melissa Hortman in Minnesota. We've evidenced school shootings in Colorado and Minnesota also, right? Certainly that's all in all of our minds. It underscores the importance of safety and security and having a robust threat assessment system, which is one of the preventative measures that we have here in the school district, right? I can assure you that we have a very robust threat assessment system to help identify individuals that are exhibiting troubling behavior that may be on that pathway to violence, to get ahead of the curve, to provide interventions and supports, and remove individuals from a potential pathway to violence. The Safety and Security Department is working diligently, constantly conducting after-action assessments of incidences such as school shootings across the nation to learn from those and make sure that we're implementing best practices. I am presenting a deeper dive on November 13th to the board, and I look forward to having a deeper conversation about safety and security in the district. I'll turn it over to Angela.
Thank you. So Angela Christofferson, Executive Director of Technology. I started with the district about 12 years ago in the technology department, and the summers were the time for us to take a breath, and that is not so anymore. With the increased number of devices and software, we spend our time performing network maintenance, prepping school laptops for the new year, updating software, and this summer was no different as we work nonstop behind the scenes to prepare for a smooth, successful start for the new year. So for our students, we collected and prepared over 10,000 student devices so that all of our learners from kindergartners to seniors had the right technology tool that was working properly for them with the latest software. We spent some time with a student group to gather feedback on how we can improve our services to students. For staff, we again set up laptops, we provided training, we moved technology equipment for 45 staff members that moved to different locations. And we supported the technology at a lot of the key district events that I'm sure many of you attended. Our technology trainer spent the summer, we have a new tool called Synthesia that uses AI to create training videos. And so she was able to create over 30 training videos that will help improve our staff's competency in technology and help them feel more comfortable and confident. And then behind the scenes, our applications team really spent some time on improving our operations, whether that was upgrading systems or implementing new software. One of the major things we do over the summer is we have over 80 data integrations that we work on, that we move data between systems, all with the goal to get our staff the data they need to make really good decisions and support our students. So every accomplishment on this slide is represents a direct investment in our students and our staff and our schools. I'm incredibly proud of the work that we did over the summer. and throughout the school year. And I will be meeting with you all later on this evening. James and I will be talking about cybersecurity.
Good afternoon, good evening, board members. It's good to see you guys again. My name is Don Dixon. I'm the Director of Transportation. This summer for us, I encouraged my staff to take a breather, relax, but we still stayed busy as we transition out of 1 year, focused on summer school, and now then focusing on the next year's routes and stuff. One of the biggest changes that we have for this school year is the bell time changes, which for us gave us the ability to keep routes either south of I-90 or north of I-90, which saves us on cross-district traveling, miles, fuel use. Just to give you an example, last year we traveled over 400,000 in-district route miles. We look to cut that at least by a third. So that's a savings there. Gas prices are going up this year, we just found out. So that's a good savings there. Another big topic for this year that we faced was the Metro route cancellations and the adjustment Metro made. So right now we have yellow buses, and we've always had yellow buses cover those routes ever since the 800 series routes were canceled. So it's always been there. It's just, I guess people didn't realize what those routes did. So, we get a lot of emails about that, and we just direct them or give them the information on what route covers what area. This year, we replaced our routing software, which was aging, not being supported after the end of the year. It came with a new parent app that was launched, and so far so good. We've had a few bumps in the system, but I think overall my team pulled together. I'm working with the vendor to try to iron out those crinkles.
Hi, thank you so much, John. So hi, good evening, school board. My name is Ricardo Macias, Director of Welcome Center and Community Outreach. Full disclosure, I know Angela was gonna be here, so I wanted to impress her, so I have my laptop. I was gonna flip it to turn it into an iPad. Didn't work out. It was messing up my notes, so I do apologize if I missed something. So after working with a group of plus 25 community members over the last year in developing a shared vision for the Welcome Center, we're really, really excited to share that on September 26th. We're going to have the official Welcome Center ribbon cutting ceremony. So this culminates the work and the collaboration that we've been doing over the past probably 13, 14 months. One thing about the Welcome Center is a physical space that includes multiple teams, with student placement being one of those teams, as well as McKinney Event Office, Language Access, Family Engagement, the Welcome Center core team, and we partner with many of our community-based organizations in supporting our community. So one thing specific to improving the experience of our families when it comes to enrollment, in June, we launched a new system called School Finder, in which families can go online, type in their address, and they'll be able to see what school, the area of, their school of attendance based on where they lived. That went out live, and we've been getting really positive, input. Then, as Dr. Omaki was mentioning, our enrollment has been increasing slightly, and this resulted in us enrolling 2,777 new students to the district. And over the summer, we had about 1,126 students being enrolled between June and August 29th. So even though the Welcome Center ribbon cutting ceremony is happening on the 26th, we've been really busy welcoming students and families, and it's been just so great to see the space come to life. The bottom left picture, you see a little girl playing in the kitchenette. Well, over there in the back, that's my office. So I was in school for a while, and it's just so nice to have kids, be playing around, and I can hear the kids' voices, and it's just so rewarding. And by the way, I forgot to mention on the right bottom corner, you're gonna see the picture of the School Finder. And then all this work has not been able to be possible if it weren't for the collaboration with my colleagues and everybody else, as they were sharing things about what they've been doing over their different departments. Just so thankful for their collaboration and support, because this truly has been an a team effort. Can we go to the next slide, please? So another part that was central in the development of the Welcome Centers that was sharing is a partner with our community and our students. So if you've been to the Welcome Center space lately, you're gonna see that there's a mural that is getting painted. This is by 3 of our Interlake High School students, who, by the way, are also gonna be help us MC the ceremony. So just looking forward to these amazing students are so dedicated. They've been, working on it even on Sundays. So it's just a pleasure, seeing them, be part of this work. And they put so much thought into the development of the mural. There's so many elements that they incorporated, and they are going to be talking about that during the ribbon cutting ceremony. One thing too that is really important for the Welcome Center is that we're not only a space, but that we go out to the community. So the picture in the middle at the top, that's the Welcome Center on wheels. This is a continuation of the great work that the team's comms department has been doing over the past years, in which we go and represent the district at multiple events. We had the opportunity to go and be at 4 community events sponsored by the city, 5 actually, and we're looking forward to some ones that are coming up. Another key component of the Welcome Center is the partnership and collaboration with our over 30 plus 30 community members. And just to highlight some of the work that they've done to prepare for the school year, because all of them are working really hard to get our students ready for the 25-26 school year. The picture on the top right, that's a picture of a group of volunteers from Congregations for Schools who put together 1,000 backpacks full with supplies. And thanks to our transportation and warehouse departments, we were able to distribute those. They were at Spear Ridge. They worked there for like a week. There were so many of them. It was just so amazing. And, that's just one, example of all the work that the amazing community partners are doing. Some of the things that we're partnering with our community-based organizations and community partners is, as Jeff was mentioning, is streamlining the volunteer system. We've been hearing some of those pieces. With the tech department, something else that we're working on is streamlining the student placement and enrollment systems for our families, focused on creating a better experience. So we're really excited about all the work that is happening, thrilled, and hope to see you if you have the opportunity to be there on Friday for our ribbon cutting ceremony. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I think it's time for questions and discussion in reaction to the presentation. So, okay, I see Director Webster seems to have some.
First of all, thank you all so much for all the phenomenal ways that you're supporting our students. We don't often get to hear this feedback. We do our best to try to get around to different programs. But we're limited on time. So thank you, Dr. Armaki, for allowing us to have this opportunity. I do have just a couple of things. I mean, this is phenomenal work that you're all doing. So I'll start with Mr. McLeod, if that's okay. So the UV, is it EV charging stations that are in progress. I know that, in the past, I've talked a little bit about how that copper is being stolen out of some of those stations across the state. And I'm just wondering how we're thinking about taking care of our equipment, making sure that there's not any theft that could possibly happen around that. So that's a question that I had about facilities. And then for Mr. Doug James, the new system, I love that. The badge system, I got to use it when we went and did the school, back to school visit, and it was very efficient. I love it. And I'm wondering if there is an opportunity to have some sort of way to identify people who need a background screening, like expiration date on there. So when volunteers come in, they screen in, there's an expiration date on whether or not they need like an updated background check. That's something that one of the front desk staff had asked for. And so just wanted to offer that as maybe something to explore and consider for the front desk office staff who have people coming into the buildings. And then for Mr. Lowell, I think that it's so great that we're having training for these volunteers that are coming in. I just remember volunteering as a parent, long ago, and I didn't have the training. And so I think it's great. And I'm wondering, I know that some of the older kids, the older students like the 12th graders, 11th graders, they often go in and they help to train and not train, but coach some of the younger kids for volunteer hours. And I'm just wondering if there are any training opportunities for them that are available. And then last thing, I'm so sorry, Mr. Dixon. Last thing, oh gosh, that's okay. Go. Okay, I'm just wondering if we have an update on the paddle stop program. I know that there was some talk about it stopping and then starting, and then I feel like I don't know where we landed. That's all. Thank you.
Before I start, I wanted to say we are ahead of schedule, so I think that we got a little bit of latitude. First of all, I just want to say thank you for your presentation. It's so informative, and I think for not just for the board, but for the larger community to see what exactly happens all year round, including summer, and the amount of work it takes to run all of our schools at its best capacity, best ability, I should say. And that said, there's a lot that I would love to say thank you, and this is amazing, and wow, but I don't have that much time. So I'll start with, go down my questions here. For Mr. Lowell, thank you for sharing about the number of girls and boys involved in sports. I'm curious to know, and I'm glad to hear about the freshman numbers. What are the activity level and the numbers, if you have numbers around the number of students involved in all the extra activities outside of sports, and what types and the varieties. As far as capital projects, I'm curious to know, when will the Newport High School project be completed and be able to, for our students to be able to use those, the newest part? I know we are in phase 3. I'm curious, when will it be complete? Nutrition, let's see. So excited to hear that we're doing the locally sourced food, as well as the diverse options. Thank you for being so creative and addressing the different needs, including the vegetable option, vegetarian option. I think our students are, awfully lucky to have just the great effort you're going through.
Not actually ahead of schedule. We have 8 minutes or something for 3 more people and all the reactions. So it'll be okay if we go over a little bit, but we don't have extra time.
Can I ask 2 questions?
Okay.
Okay. I'm curious to know, regarding safety and security, Narcan, how many do we have in each of the campus, and is it visible for and accessible for all students in case of emergency, or is it only staff that has access to those? And I'll just
Okay. Marta or Phil? Director Block.
I want to share everybody's appreciation. The beginning of the school year doesn't happen without you guys. You guys do a great job of making sure that we're ready to start. It's kind of like a startup every year, it feels like. So it's kind of amazing to see the level of effort. And suddenly we go from having nobody in the schools to having literally thousands and tens of thousands of students running around the schools. I'm going to go quickly, as I've got a lot of questions and not much time. Mr. Lowell, I've got 3 questions. One is, we've gotten a lot of questions about field use by the public and the accessibility of that. I'm curious if when you come back to us, you can give us some information on the utilization rate at those schools by paid users, and help us understand what's going on with the questions we're getting. I'm also curious about flag football, which, as I understand, is a newly approved or sanctioned sport, and if that's something that we're doing, and how that kickoff is going, because I'm pretty excited about the potential there. I'm also, you probably know I have an overriding interest in the drama programs, and I'm curious if there are opportunities for us to make sure that we're providing similar cross-school support to the drama programs that we do for the sports. I'm going to skip on to meals. We got a question last year from some parents, which I haven't heard addressed, which is the question was, does the presence of free meals at some schools act as a barrier or prevent some parents from choosing to go through the process of requesting them? And if you have any information on that, that would be great to understand. Mr. James, the question we always get is around the relationship with Bellevue Police Department and how we manage things when we have to escalate. I'm going to jump to Don. I agree with the paddle stop question. If we can get a status on that, that'd be great. I've also been hearing a lot from other districts that they do report some information on on-time buses and use that to help identify routes that might need to be revised and things like that. I also will note that the city did not do us any favors at the beginning of the school year. I noted brand new construction popped up around 3 schools the very week that school started. And so I will close by a question for Mr. Macias, which is we've asked several times about ways to support non-resident students. And if you have thoughts on possibility of bringing together a forum or group so that we can engage that community as a unit, because that is a group that we don't quite know how to engage right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. Operation is the backbone of our school district, and it's what allows our programs, our teachers, and our students to thrive. So thank you for putting all your effort. I want also to acknowledge that from the budget cuts, your teams were most impacted. So thank you for being here and just sharing that more or less operation we are keeping on top of the things that need to be done. So please share that with your staff member. Listening to your presentation, I hear about collaboration. I love it. I hear about innovation. Wendy, it's amazing how every single year we have problems to get our families to sign up for the free and reduced, and you can get deeper with communication and try to make something different with the final forms also for the trips. And Mr. Macias going everywhere with the new amazing tent and trying to have a new students to enroll, and I can keep going. The safety is also very important, so thank you. And you more or less everyone touched about sustainability, and that is in our strategic plan. So I am super happy also to hear that. Last time in our internal meeting, Director Block mentioned about the website, about making kind of a website for the capital projects. And I really, really like the idea. And one of my questions is, are we going to work on that? Do you think it's a good idea? But it's not my idea, please. It's Dr. Block. Oh, okay. And 2 more questions about the bus drivers. Do we have enough bus drivers? Because I know that in the past we have struggled a little bit. What about our electric bus? Well, Dr. Macias, please, enrollment, it's a top priority. We need to continue to be creative and continue to think about that.
Okay, well, I think we were a little optimistic about the time, even stated on this agenda, because of course there's a zillion questions. So I have to say I appreciate all the specific questions that the other board members have asked, and I look forward to what you're going to say to that. So I'm not going to add a whole lot more to it, but I am wondering, we were talking about EV stations. What's going on with the electric school bus? Are we going to have a charging station for that? Are we going to have an electric school bus? What's up with that? You mentioned radio antennas, which is an odd interest of mine, but I remember when we were looking into earthquake preparedness, they said something ages ago about you actually have to have a ham radio at the different schools so that if there really is a terrible, earthquake where we lose our phone connections and stuff, we could ham radio each other. I'm wondering if that's got anything to do with the radio intent. If that's still a thing, or if there's some other plan for people to communicate in an emergency. And then I'm wondering if it's a good thing that the Narcan expired. Does that mean we didn't actually need to use it? And then the other thing that, well, I've been noticing, I noticed some praise for the new lobby system, but my badge doesn't scan. So I don't know about that. So now I have to type every time, so I don't feel that good about that. And then the thing about the volunteer system, that's another stress point. It's good that we have some training, but once upon a time, we had a more robust volunteer system where people from the community who had skills and things could come and find an opening and get put to work. And we don't have enough money to pay a lot of people right now. So like, I'm thinking for a couple of years ago, maybe it was pre-pandemic, I met somebody over at Big Picture School who was a retired expert in like physics, and the kids loved him to the point where they had him up on the stage during graduation. But how would that guy find the opportunity now? Because it seems to me that if you're not connected to a school, if you're not friends with a principal or a teacher, there's no way to know how to get a volunteer opportunity. We don't have a vibes program. We don't have a way to funnel people into opportunities. Maybe there's not a lot of them, but there are a few, and the few that there are can be real gems. So I think we need to work on our recruitment of volunteers and help them find openings. And I will say the final forms is apparently making less work for the board chair, which is also appreciated because I don't have to sign a big stack of where are these people going on field trips anymore. So that's a good thing. And one more question about the volunteer. There has been some confusion about how staff at the individual schools know when a volunteer is cleared, like maybe they're cleared at a different school or, like there's some confusion there. So those are my questions. Okay, Jane's got 2 more questions. Sorry, Director Aras has 2 more questions.
No worries, thanks. I do want to ask regarding technology, there's been asked by parents if there's any way or if there's an app that we could install that gives parents control to minimize access at home because students are using their laptops to surf when they should be working on their schoolwork. And another question that has been asked of me from students is there any way we could work with our metro to change maybe some of the bus routes because of the constructions and various other things and traffic. Students are arriving to school late, and it's either arriving late or being at school 45 minutes early. And so it would be if that's something that we could address. Thanks.
I'm going to suggest right now that maybe we go down the line, boom, 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 boom. And if you know the answer off the top of your head, but if you don't, you can get back to us. Would that be all right? Or
That's great. I was just thinking, we probably don't have time to answer every question. So think of the most interesting one to answer. So when you go down the pike, okay.
Yes, and then I'll add to that, treat this like a lightning round, guys. And then because there's a lot of questions here, which we knew there would be, and we appreciate those. So just know, board, whatever we don't get to tonight, we will give you a written response via a board memo, okay? So lightning round, okay? All right, ready? Go for it.
You get an A and a B. Flag football, yes, all 4 schools. This will be our 2nd full year. B, you'll get numbers for activities in November. They're finalizing those in September. We'll start them in October.
Security on the copper and the charging stations. Currently, we have these located at Puesta del Sol, Highland Middle School, and Newport High School. We haven't had any problems with that, but we do have cameras out there that do keep tabs of what's going on those charging stations.
So the question regarding our schools where we offer no-cost meals. So luckily, when meals are offered at no cost, a student does not technically have an eligibility for free or reduced price meals. So families are encouraged to still complete the application in order to access the other benefits like fee waivers, summer EBT program. So we actually have the same level, if not higher, qualification or free or reduced price meals in each one of the schools that we offer free meals in than when we started.
Regarding Narcan, it's placed in common space within our buildings. It's not behind locked doors. We assure that, so it's accessible to students and staff. Yeah, very few incidences of Narcan use in the district, which we're fortunate of, right? Our relationship with Bellevue PD is fantastic. We train staff yearly on suspicious activity reporting, on when and how to report concerning behavior. And it's behavioral based. It's not based upon somebody's race, gender, etc. So, but Bellevue PD prioritizes school calls, 911 calls as priority 1 calls. Very short response time. And question about, in a large-scale disaster, how do we communicate? We have POTS phones, plain old telephone system phones in our buildings, which are copper lines that will still work when the power is out. IT is currently upgrading our VoIP phones with battery power backup. So that's our main means of communication when the power is out.
I'd have to know a little bit more about your parents, but we do have an app called AP or App Parent that helps parents monitor their child's activity on laptops.
I think I can make mine really quick. March 2026 for the electric bus delivery. And as of September 1, the stop pedal camera is started. It was a long road, but we made it.
And regarding the volunteer system, that is our top priorities that we're working on right now. We're partnering with PTSA Council on identifying some solutions. Jeff and Angela's team have been also critical in this. We are down to a point where we narrow it down to 2 products that we're looking at piloting really soon. And thank you so much for PTSA Council who's doing fundraising to support this work.
Thank you. Dr. Armaki?
The only thing I'll add to that is I think with the Welcome Center, it is a key priority. The board has talked about this a lot, but the experience of people who apply for choice schools, being able to check their wait lists, being able to manage volunteers. And so because that's such a huge part of our revenue, but also just the experience and support of our classrooms, especially during kind of these tighter times, we are going to allocate an additional staff member to the Welcome Center. So I just wanted you to know that we have like squeezed the lemon and are basically allocating a kind of Welcome Center coordinator. One of the key roles is going to be to launch the volunteerism. So it was very hard to figure that out, but it's been so amazing. It's been an incredible partnership. This whole team really has all had a hand in it, plus the PTSA. I mean, and so and it's working. And so we kind of want to double down on that. So we are going to allocate. So we can support that. Some of it is going to cost a little bit because like even managing wait lists, we have to pay for technology in order for that to be automated. Because right now, for a parent to check their spot on the wait list, they have to call or send an email. But there are options like with Synergy and things like that where it can be automated, but it costs money to turn on the features and things like that. So we're working on that, but it is a key priority for us. So anyways, thank you to the operations team. I mean, you can just see just from listening to them, I mean, if they didn't do their jobs well, I mean, so many things could go wrong at the beginning of the year, and this team is absolutely extraordinary. So nice work, everybody. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Board.
Yeah, thank you. And now it's time for board business, and we have one item. The appointments to Disciplinary Appeals Council on the district side, I think.
Thank you, President Watson. This is an annual task that we put before the board. According to School Board Policy 3241, which is student behavior, corrective actions, and/or interventions. At the second regular school board meeting in September, which is tonight, administrative representatives and alternates will be appointed to the Disciplinary Appeals Council by the board. And just for the record, the Disciplinary Appeals Council is basically our school board has delegated their authority to hear appeals to a committee, a citizens committee, and that's the DAC. And appointments are made on an annual basis. You will recall that in December, you will also be appointing the board representative to the Disciplinary Appeals Council, as well as the parent representative to the Disciplinary Appeals Council. So this year, we are recommending to you that Keith Altenoff, the assistant principal at Odell, serve as the secondary administrative representative to DAC. We also asked you to approve one or more alternates. So we are suggesting that Harland Warrior, the one of the assistant principals at Newport High, as well as Kelly Baltzer, assistant principal at Tyee, be appointed as the alternate representative administrators for DAC. In addition, we're also recommending that Ricardo Macias be the district's community engagement representative. And along with Ricardo, we would like you to appoint Kelly Tato, the director of schools and early learning, and Melanie McGee, program director, as the alternate representatives. So that is the recommended action, and we would ask for your approval of those representatives and alternates to the Disciplinary Appeal Council for the 25-26 school year.
Okay, so now we need a motion. I think it was in our packet.
I move to accept the 2025-26 Disciplinary Appeals Council appointment recommended by the administration.
Second.
Okay, great. Do we want to discuss it? Anybody want to say anything about it? Yeah, I'll just say I'm grateful for the people who allow us to delegate this to them. Let's say, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And I don't hear anybody opposed. And this motion is now approved. All right, well, that couldn't have been easier. So now we have time for director discussion. Oh, but yeah, we're back on schedule. So here we go. Who would like to be first in director discussion? Or not first? Okay, Director Trias, since you accidentally raised your hand.
Okay, I would like today to talk about a couple of things. So the first thing is our equity plan. I want to share with the community that maybe not everyone knows that we have an equity plan. And last year, we had an equity design team that just audit how the district was doing in equity. And they saw that there is a little bit of lack of consistency, and they did some recommendation in an equity plan. And this equity plan has two main pillars: is the equity-based professional development, and the accountability and the tracking measure, right? And I am talking to this because I went yesterday to the PD of microaggression that Freedom Johnson is doing. And I was very proud to be there and also seeing for the first time that classified staff are taking this kind of training. So that was, that was very important for me. And I just want to acknowledge that the microaggressions has a heavy lift in the sense of belonging and the student learning. So I think we need to take that very serious, and making our staff going through these trainings are going to give more tools to our staff. And the other thing that I want to say also is about our innovative programs. Last time we talked about the Japanese language program, and today I want to acknowledge also the Bellevue Discovery Family Partnership Program that I am super proud that our district is finding the ways to serve the students that need an alternative learning. So this program complements the home-based education provided by the family, and once per week we are going, the kids, they come to our central office, and they have an in-person day, and this is working quite well. And from K to 8, we are having 100 students. So this program, these innovative programs are helping also to bring more students to our district. And the last thing, if I have time, is about the BSD app. And I want to send some kudos to communication and tell to the parents, please download the app, it's multiple language and a lot of important information. Having said that, yes, yes. Having said that, I have heard from some parents that some of the websites of our schools or our departments are not super updated. And I know that last year we changed the model, and it's not central office who is updating. So maybe the people that we train, they are not longer in the district, and I will ask that if we can retrain or have to put in place another training to make our information accurate to our families. And kudos to communication, because they lost several people and they are on top of the things. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Director Ars.
Okay, I have some couple of things to share. I was invited to be to attend the Youth Link day of kind of their scheduling for the year, and it was interesting to hear from our youth what's bothering them, what's in their concern, and it was us, I have to feel lucky to be able to hear and them share some of their concerns, and one of the big concerns is still mental health. It was, I would say, probably the most loud and underlying current of things that is on top of their mind, as well as just, I think, the basic necessities that the students need to be successful in school. And it was interesting to hear them from everything from mental health to housing, and that our students are wanting to see how they could help that issue or those issues be addressed this year. Some of the other things that they want to make sure that I share with the rest of the board is the Gumbo Night is coming up in October, and all the board members, our directors are invited. So there will be an email, and I'm pretty sure there will be someone from those student group that will show up and remind us, please attend their Gumbo Night. The other is for WASDA election timeline. The candidate filing is over, but voting will start in October 1st. So please make time to vote, because our vote does matter as far as how things are run in WASDA. And that's from October 1st to the 16th. The General Assembly is this Saturday, the 20th. And so if there's any additional information that you'd like to share with me regarding General Assembly and positions, please make sure that you share that with me prior to Saturday. I think that's it. Thanks.
Okay. Well, I was thinking I'll take a turn, and I'd like to report to the board about, so we had the first PTSA council meeting, which incorporates all the PTA presidents from the district, and was held at the Welcome Center. And I feel like totally filled the room. Like there wasn't a lot of extra space in the Welcome Center. So that was kind of good. And they had moved it to lunchtime in hopes to get more parents out to it, and it seemed to have worked. And of course, Dr. Aramaki is always the big draw to open the meeting. And I think, why would you as a parent not want to come to a meeting where you could talk to the superintendent directly? So that's always a draw. And so when I had a chance to speak there, and I found that what I'm basically talking about is, the budget crisis, just a little bit on how we got there, a lot on what the board is doing, and then to what we've done, and then a little bit on, going forward where we really want to emphasize it's not getting better without advocacy. So I thought I'd just share, you guys all know this already, but I just thought I'd share quickly the things I had enumerated as things the board has specifically done. So we've done stuff. Okay, so the AFAC, whatever that acronym stands for, the accounting group that came in with the expertise, the monthly sessions we've been having with the finance department, the binding conditions, people don't understand it, but actually that's a good step, right? Because we know we get an OSPI expert, we don't have to pay interest on the interfund loan, we have to put aside the 2 million, like we don't have an option, and we have that option of selling the property and having that help with the reserves. Then I explained a little bit about the reserves because people don't understand that. Like you actually need it to make over the summer payroll because the way the state funds us at their own, whatever works for them and not for us, which I just find remarkable, but anyway. And then the other thing is, I really think the board has helped and the superintendent have helped create a culture change within the finance department. So it is my wish, and by saying so, I hope it makes it true, that when employees see things, they feel empowered to come forward without feeling like there's going to be some negative repercussion on their job. And I think we've changed that, and we're going to continue to work to make sure that people really feel that if they see something, they could actually say something in the finance world. And then we ended that with the PTSA Council has a great advocacy group, and they also emphasize very much about what parents can do to help advocate for more funding. And then the other thing I was working on or worried about this, since you saw me last, is the levy. Of course, I'm worried about the levy. So I connected with, we have some volunteers, I'm finishing my thought, who have come forward for the levy, so I'm grateful for that. And I talked, I think you may have, some of you may have also talked to former board member Steve Miller, who's worried about the levy, but he also gave me this odd opportunity. I met the former CFO from like the Mike Riley days, Howard Johnson, who still lives in town and is not named after a restaurant chain. Anyway, so it was really fun to chat with him and reminisce about old times, but he said that he felt that he was out of date enough to help us with this levy, but it's something that I'm really worried about. So I'm worried about us refining our talking points when we go out to the community. And also, how are we going to talk to older community members who don't have kids in the schools or don't even have grandkids in schools and are worried about their property taxes going up? And I know that there's a session being put on at the North Bellevue Community Center that people can go to learn how, if you have an income of less than 84,000, which I don't know how, whether that would actually cover very many people, they can get their property tax frozen if they're over 61. So there's all these limitations on it, but we've got to know this stuff as a board because we're going to go around talking about the levy. Okay, more on that later. And next, Director Webster.
Sure. Thank you. So many of you know, I got a chance to go to the CUBE conference. I had to look up the acronym. It's the Council of Urban Boards of Education. And part of that visit included me being able to go to Compton High School, one of their middle schools and one of their elementary schools. And I have to say, when we arrived at Compton High School, we got the warmest welcome. They had the band, they had the cheerleaders, they had the dance team, they had the board there, and cameras and everything just welcoming us. And so it was just so heartwarming to receive that welcome. There was just a lot of conversation around AI at this conference. And part of the tour at Compton High School was the kids sort of taking us around and talking about the different aspects of their school that was inundated with AI, from the classrooms to the bookless library. And I walked away with a lot of questions, but it was just really fascinating. They have a submarine, what is it called? It's a marine, where they have underwater submarines. It's like a marine, no, it's called marine robotics. That's what it is, program there. And they built this brand new pool, and they submerged these submarines underneath, and they used the pool for their marine robotics. I couldn't touch them, but they did demonstrate for us. And then in the math classes, they've got these virtual headsets for kids who I got a chance to talk to around how they felt their learning was different than having a teacher there kind of doing the traditional instruction. And it was just really fascinating, the responses. They were like, well, it's like gaming, and so just having a chance to interact with these kids who are in these spaces where it's pretty AI dominant was really fascinating. Also had some really good conversations with other school board directors, including the board chair of Compton High School, just around what partnerships look like between board directors and families and how needed that is right now. Families are really relying on the districts to help them with opportunities, resources, challenges that are coming up for our families. And so that was a really heavy subject matter that kept coming up over and over again. But really, it was just a great opportunity to connect with other school board directors and really establish those relationships. So, yeah, thanks.
Oh, great. And then Director Block.
Yeah, it was great to hear from the teachers representatives earlier. I know that curriculum nights are going on right now. In fact, my students' curriculum night starts in about 20 minutes. I'll be here. Fortunately, I know a lot of the teachers already, and having had a senior go through the same program, I know where we're headed. But I want to echo the appreciation for the teachers that show up in the evenings. I know families and parents really appreciate the chance to see their kids' teachers one-on-one or in groups in those classrooms, and it helps establish communications for the year. And I know it's an extra thing when you've worked all day and then you come back and come in at night, but it is greatly appreciated by all the families. I do want to recognize that the PSAT National Merit Scholarship recognitions have been going out around the state and around the country. Bellevue did extremely well. We have some extremely high achieving students. By my count, we had 76 at five of our 6 high schools this year, which is 4.2% of our rising of the juniors that were tested last year did that. So it's supposed to be like 1%, the top 1% in the country. So we're at least 4 times as many top achievers here in Bellevue. And on a per capita basis, we had the highest number in the state. Lake Washington School District has a few more, but they have more students. So we have a higher fraction of our students who got that recognition this year.
Right.
But it's pretty impressive. Bellevue, Mercer Island, Lake Washington School District, and Issaquah are kind of all in a group of high achieving school districts. So I do want to recognize that I went to a candidate forum the other night for the city council, and it was on environmental sustainability. It was impressive. There were about a quarter of the people there were actually Bellevue high school students, largely populated from the people who participated with our environmental sustainability committee. And there's a strong desire, clearly, from these students to stay involved in city and district-wide environmental sustainability initiatives. And I hope that we can continue to do that. Randy Litzenberger, the staff lead for that group, was present there as well, and encouraging the students to go up on stage and talk and whatnot. So it was great to see. I want to recognize that a few years ago, when the paddle cameras were initially introduced, there was a significant amount of public outreach through social media and other things. And it may be worth sending out some of that again, just to recognize and remind families and parents that safety measure is back in place, and the community that punitive system is back in place for people who break that law and break the safety for our students. And then just again, really looking forward and excited about the start of sports seasons and all those kids. It sounds like about 1 in 4 of our high school students is engaged in a sport this year, and that's amazing, or this season, and that's amazing.
Great, thank you. So I think that will end board discussion, and we are now sort of on time for our meeting. We're going to be taking a break from 6:15 to 6:30, but I am now going to read a statement because we don't have a study session tonight, but we do have an executive session. So I need to let the community know why we're having an executive session. The board will meet in executive session to consider if in compliance with any required data security breach disclosure under RCW 19.255.010 and RCW 42.56.590, and with legal counsel available, information regarding the infrastructure and security of computer and telecommunications networks, security and service recovery plans, security risk assessments, and security test results to the extent that they identify specific system vulnerabilities and other information that, if made public, may increase the risk to confidentiality, integrity, or availability of agency security or to information technology infrastructure or assets, and to evaluate the qualifications of an applicant for public employment or to review the performance of a public employee. Well, there's a mouthful, and I'm not sure we had a verb, but that's what we're up to. We're going to be talking about data security and something about a public employee.
And it won't be broadcast.
Say one
And it
quick,
won't be broadcast.
yeah, one quick thing, anticipated return to public session, and it's not anticipated the board will take any further action.
Right. So we expect that at about, when this ends at 7:45, we'll just be saying the meeting is adjourned and there won't really be any other interesting things to listen to. Okay, so we're on break for 15 minutes. Okay. This meeting of the Bellevue School District Board of Directors is now adjourned.
7:55.
7:55.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Okay. This meeting of the Bellevue School District Board of Directors is now adjourned.
7:55.
7:55.
Perfect.
Perfect.